Guys, one of the most exciting new stars in the middleweight division is in the house. He's making waves all over the place. And of course, this weekend at UFC 309, which is, by the way, on Sunday via KO Sports here in Australia against tough veteran Paul Craig, en route to the top of the division, three-time NCAA Division I national champ Bo Nickal is in the house. Bo, welcome to the program, brother.
What an intro. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Dude, I've been meaning to have you on this show for a while, so I'm really happy it's come together now. I know you were on Ariel's show earlier talking about Madison Square Garden in 2016. We don't want to think about that, you know, because that's behind us. But for people that don't know, you've wrestled there before. But as a fan, man, what's your favorite thing that you've ever watched at Madison Square Garden in the past that stands out to you?
That's an interesting question. You know, the only one that really comes to my mind, and I didn't even watch this in person, but I think McGregor fought Alvarez there, I'm pretty sure.
That's right.
And that was just a crazy, crazy event. I remember watching it on TV and first simultaneous double champ. So, you know, that was a pretty cool one and definitely iconic moment in the sport.
When you walk in there, into Madison Square Garden, does it feel different? Like, I know 2016 you were there, you're about to walk back in there. Like, is there a different feel when you walk into the arena, or is it for you because you're like, you know, an athlete that's been doing it at the highest level for such a long time? It's just another venue, just another day.
I would say that it's a different feel. You know, there's just so much history, and you're just right in the middle of just such a massive city, and it's just like a really, really cool place. It's a special place, and in 2016, you know, even though it didn't go my way, I think I did let the environment kind of get to me a little bit as far as the pressure and stuff like that. But, you know, I look back in that with a lot of gratitude because, you know, it kind of has propelled me to where I'm at and given me a lot of motivation. And we got to do some cool things as well. Like, you know, getting to compete in sold out Madison Square Garden as a 19-year-old kid's pretty crazy. And I remember the weigh-in, they actually had us do a kind of a ceremonial weigh-in on the scale, the same scale that Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier weighed in on.
Wow.
They fought. So, you know, that was something that was just really cool. You know, not a lot of people are going to get to do that. And so I look back, even though I lost, with a lot of gratitude and appreciation. And I'm excited for this next, this weekend, just because, you know, this is a moment in my life that you really, you don't get a unlimited amount of those. So I want to make the most of it.
That's insane, man. That's awesome. And this is interesting, right? Because you were on the Mighty Mouse podcast. You're kind of talking about the fact that on one side, you've been a huge star for a really long time. So you've been in those big situations like weighing in on Muhammad Ali's scale at Madison Square Garden, right? So you've kind of got an advantage over some people that come into the UFC. They don't understand what it's like to be in front of big crowds like that. But on the other side, you're talking about, hey, man, like I'm still kind of new to this and I'm finding people who are like 20-0, 25-6, like people with real experience and with amateur backgrounds. So I'm trying to figure out the best way for me to build up my skills in between these fights. How hard is it for you now, though, man? Because you're about to step in there against Paul Craig and out there and beat him decisively. People are going to be wanting to see you in that top 15 and fighting the top guys in the division, right?
Yeah, of course. You know, I think that for me, I look at this all as just an opportunity. And as far as the experience goes, you know, I try to balance the idea of having thousands of wrestling competitions and been under the lights so many times, but also with doing something new, there is that kind of unknown and uncertainty. So, you know, some good advice that I was given by Daniel Cormier and Chris Weidman was just to treat it like a wrestling match. And so that's really what I've done in my mind to kind of, I guess, utilize my wrestling experience as best I can. But also, you know, as far as outside of the actual fight, just developing and improving my skills, working with the best guys in the world, you know, at American Top Team, and being able to train day in, day out with guys who are exactly like the guys that I'll be fighting in the cage, right? You know, guys that have 20, 30 pro fights, have beaten guys at the highest level. And so for me, a lot of my confidence also comes from my prep and my training. And yeah, as far as what'll come in the future, I think that I'll just take it one step at a time. And I feel like for me, I'm detail oriented and I like to plan, but I also like to leave room to be creative and see where things go and how they play out, and just trust my instincts, not only in the fight, but with my career path and the way that, you know, like I said, the way that things play out, just, you know, kind of keep an open mind.
It's interesting because in wrestling, right, you go into the competition and you verse who you verse depending on the bracket. But in the UFC, you know, people fight fans, you know, call for fights all the time, and it feels like a lot of people are like, you know, Bo Nickal, he wins here. We'd love to see this Shara Bullet fight. Well, what's your reaction been to people sort of bringing this fight up with you so often? And if people really want to see this fight next, I know you mentioned it might be a pretty quick one, but if people really want to see this fight next, would he be someone that you'd be willing to fight after Paul Craig?
Yeah, 100%. I would take that fight. I think that, you know, in my mind, I don't see that as a super difficult challenge just because of his style and what I've seen on film. I don't think that his style really matches up well with mine. I think that you know, obviously I could take advantage in the grappling scenarios and getting him on the ground and stuff. But it would be a dangerous fight. You know, he just had a crazy double back fist knockout. So, you know, you always got to be wary of that type of thing. And honestly, anybody that's in the UFC right now that's at this level is a dangerous fight. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, I would 100% love to get that fight at some point in the future. I know the UFC is trying to build him, and you know, I wouldn't mind going over to Abu Dhabi or wherever and fighting him. But yeah, for me, the main focus is Paul Craig this weekend at UFC 309, and like I said, we'll see how it plays out after that.
Quick break to thank MANSCAPED and NORDVPN and SAILY for bringing you these programs here today. I want to talk about MANSCAPED first. What? Boom! The Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver is here. It is the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver is your go-to for precision and style every time. Head over to manscaped.com and join over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code word submission for 20% off and free shipping now. And what makes the Chairman Pro so special? Well, what about the Skin Safe blade heads? Skin Safe full blade foil for that close, smooth shave when you're looking to go completely clean. And clean shave isn't your style? That's okay. Just switch to the Skin Safe stubble trimmer to keep your stubble looking sharp and polished. Both heads are designed with the Skin Safe technology to help reduce razor burn and irritation so your skin feels smooth and comfortable after every single shave. Go to Manscaped right now and use the code word submission. You can use it across the whole website. The Chairman Pro, you can get the Lawnmower 5.0, what about the Beard Hedger, all sorts of great products, 20% off, and you're helping the program, and you get free shipping. That's at Manscaped right now. I also want to welcome SAILY to Submission Radio. What is SAILY? This thing is an absolute game changer. It is a new eSIM service app brought to you by Nord Security, where you can choose several affordable eSIM plans over 160 countries and 8 regions. With SAILY eSIM, you'll always have a connection when needed. If you've ever been lost abroad or badly needed an internet connection with no Wi-Fi spot in sight, you'll understand what a difference a local SIM card can make. An eSIM provides the internet connection wherever you travel and saves you money on roaming fees. All you got to do is have a look at this. You just download the app. Here I am here. I want to travel to Thailand, so I choose that, and boom, it's that simple. All you guys got to do is download the app, go through the prompts, and you guys are sorted. Global and regional plans. You save time. You don't have to wait in line at airports to get a local SIM card. You stay connected. No more wandering around looking for public Wi-Fi. All SAILY eSIM plans are compatible for iOS and Android devices. So what are you waiting for? Download the SAILY app now. Use the code submission, or click the link in the description, saily.com/submission, to get an exclusive 15% off and travel in style with SAILY this festive season. And by the way, guys, while you're traveling in style, why not jump on NordVPN as well? There's exclusive deals right now for Black Friday for all Submission Radio listeners, where you get massive savings plus 4 months extra. That's 4 months extra, and you get that 30-day money-back guarantee. So why not try it today and see the NordVPN difference? And don't forget, you can use one NordVPN account across 10 devices with one single VPN subscription. Don't forget, you can get cheaper prices on things like pay-per-views, airlines, product, all sorts of things, online subscriptions. NordVPN has you covered. Jump on today and go to NordVPN/submission, or click the link in the description below. Get that big saving 4-month extra for free thanks to the Black Friday exclusive deal, and jump on now before it's gone. That's NordVPN.com. And now back to the program. I got to also bring up Khamzat, right? Because the reason why I bring this up, and I think after this win over Robert Whittaker, people are saying you're the only man that can stop Khamzat. you know, because he's such a dominant grappler. I got to ask you, obviously, you're the best of the best when it comes to wrestling. You're the best wrestler in all of UFC, most likely MMA. How do you rate his grappling, like from your perspective? Because if you look at it from a technical perspective, as someone that's been doing it at the highest level, are you impressed for what you see with Khamzat? How high level do you think he is?
Yeah, I've been super impressed with him. I think since the very first time I watched him fight, which was his first fight in the UFC over COVID in Abu Dhabi, that I've thought that this guy's exceptional. You know, that's not any different than what anybody else has thought. I think that grappling, he's definitely at the highest level in MMA, and he did. You saw what he did to a super tough guy in Robert Whitaker. So you know you can't take that away from him. And I feel like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said that when you look at matchups, that I'm probably the only guy that could really match him in that department. And I think that, you know, hopefully eventually that's a fight we'll see. I got a lot of more work to do. And there's a lot of fights in between now and then for me, because he's right up there at the title shot. So, you know, I got a lot of work to do. And once we get there, we'll figure it out.
Mm. Who do you think is the toughest challenge for you in the whole division?
You know, it's hard to say. There's so many tough fighters. There's so many, you know, great opponents and great matchups in the future. And I think that, you know, right now, if I'm really trying to assess myself honestly, anybody that can be able to defend takedowns and stop me from getting them on the ground would be a tough matchup, because my striking is definitely, while it's still improving, it's not nearly at the level that my grappling is at. So, you know, if I'm trying to assess myself and take a step back, I would look at, you know, the striking department as my weakness. But I think that so you take a high level grappler like Khamzat, then it's you know, hopefully going to be in his mind a battle of striking. But in my mind, I don't really see anybody in the division that can stop me from taking him down. And as my jiu-jitsu continues to improve and get better, then I think that I'm going to be able to submit a lot of these guys as well. And then, you know, of course, at the same time, I'm developing the striking and learning that game and trying to improve and get to a world-class level there. But yeah, I feel like, you know, at this point, my weakness is definitely in the striking department. And so, yeah, I'm just anybody that could stop a takedown. But like I said, I don't really see that happening too often.
In the Khamzat fight, do you, like, if that fight does happen down the track, do you see yourself beating him through the grappling, or is it something where you're like, hey, I want to try out some of these new areas of the game? Because that would be maybe like a year from now or something.
Yeah, you know, I think that I just want to keep getting better as a fighter overall. So, you know, when I look at my wrestling base, I don't really see anybody with the ability or potential to catch up to me there. So I don't have a doubt that I'll be able to take anybody down. I think that as my submission grappling game is improving, that I'll be able to submit anybody as well. I think that those skills are already pretty close in proximity to each other. My submission grappling is improving really quickly, and then the striking, as I improve that, I think that I just have to continue to get around the right people and develop that and improve it. So, you know, the fight, it could look like a striking match, but at the end of the day, for me, it's just like get better at fighting overall, right? It's not too much of a focus on any one or the other. You know, I still even focus on my wrestling quite a bit. I'm still wrestling with the Penn State wrestling team and improving that. So I'm just always looking to get better and improve in every area.
I got to quickly ask as well, Dricus du Plessis, he was on the show just recently last week, spoke really highly of you. What do you think of him as the champ? Do you think he'll still be the champion by the time you get into the contender spot in the division?
There's definitely a chance that he could be champion. Everybody's so tough, and including Dricus. I feel like people try to maybe knock Dricus and say his style is ugly or this or that. Well, he's winning fights and he's beating a lot of the best guys in the world, and so you got to look at that with a lot of respect. I think he's a dangerous fight for anybody. You know, we'll see whether they match up him and Strickland or him and Khamzat next, but I think Khamzat would be a tougher matchup for him than Strickland, you know, just because of how dominant Khamzat is in the grappling. But with that being said, I also see Khamzat probably struggling a bit with Dricus because he's a big guy. He's, strong. He's pretty well-rounded. And he has a good gas tank as well. He looks so tired in his fights, but then he always pulls it out, and he just has a lot of heart. So I think that would be a great fight, and there's definitely potential for him to be champion by the time I'm up there in the top of the rankings.
If you had to pick it right now without doing the proper analysis, Khamzat or DDP, who do you think wins that one?
I would, just based on the styles, I just think the grappling style, I might be biased. I'm definitely biased, but I think the grappling style is so hard to beat, and it's so hard to defend against. And I guess if you look at it from a analytical point of view, you have so many. It's really become the dominant force in the sport. You got Marab, you got Islam, you got Bilal, you got Khamzat. You even have you can even look at Topuria. Obviously, people know he's more of a boxing style, and he does a lot more striking. But his background is wrestling. He did that before anything else, and so it's really wrestlers that are dominating, grapplers that are dominating the sport right now. And so I think that I would give the edge to Khamzat, but we still have yet to see Khamzat ever fight a fourth and a fifth round. We've seen that from DDP. And so that's where he would have the advantage. If it goes deep, fourth and fifth round, I think that DDP might be able to pull it out. But, all in all, I think the grappling style is definitely an overwhelming style to try to deal with.
Last two questions from me. The first one is, I know in 2016 when you wrestled in Budapest, you wrestled in the 92 kilogram division. Do you see yourself down the track at all ever going up divisions? If you do conquer middleweight, do you see yourself in a scenario where you go for the second belt, go up to 205?
Yeah, 100%. I believe that, I have a pretty big frame. 205, there's a lot of big guys. So I definitely wouldn't be like a big 205er, but I think I have the frame to put on some mass and be good size at that weight. And yeah, I'm a guy that I've always gone up in weight class and met the challenges up there. So, for me, that's there's potential of that, but there's a lot to do and a lot of work to be done at middleweight before that happens.
All right, final one, man. You and Paul Craig, I can't wait for this one. Congratulations. It's a great fight. How do you see it going? Obviously, Paul's known for his Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but do you think he's going to be trying to work off his back against someone like yourself? It seems like a recipe for a bit of a disaster.
I think that he's definitely going to be pulling guard. He's definitely going to try to keep the fight where he's strong. And I think that, there's a couple situations that he's very strong in, right? You look at his guard, his half guard, triangles, arm bars, stuff like that. Those are his strongest positions. And for me, I'm looking to just dominate the fight from start to finish. I'm very open with the way the fight's going to go. I don't necessarily have like a super detailed plan of this is the way it's going to go. Boom, boom, boom. I feel like I have a general kind of sense of what I want to do out there. And so that way I think that I always compete the best in a more open and creative mindset. And so that's what I want to do, is just go out there, compete. And I'm always looking for the finish. I'm 6-0 with 6 finishes. I've only been to the second round one time. And so I'll be looking to finish him as well, whether that's a knockout or a submission. We'll see what he gives me, but I'll be ready to finish the fight if I get the opportunity.
All right, brother. Well, everybody out there needs to go on social media, get the I Love Bo fight shirts going into UFC 309. And of course, check out the YouTube channel with Bo. He does a lot of vlogs, interviews, really great content, man. Congratulations on everything. I can't wait to see you this weekend. Thanks for joining me. Of course, check it out on KO Sport here in Australia on Sunday.